This is Daniel Smith from Jets Guru. Welcome to the show. All gas, no brakes. Let's go, Jets. Woo!
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
What's going on, Jets Nation? CJ the Painkiller D. Simone here, and you are watching Jets Guru. Now, give it up for your host, Mr. Daniel Smith!
Oh, Jets Guru's back this week, and hopefully Daniel Smith can join us. It's another week after the bye week. So much going on with the Jets. So much exciting things to talk about. We got the big rivalry game, the revenge game. We're coming off a bye week. We got a winning record. And for the first time in a long time, we're going into the holiday seasons thinking about playoffs and not the draft. So excited to talk about that today. Just to talk a little bit about the format, I know we missed last week. Mr. Smith was under the weather. So sorry to miss you and our audience out there. Right now, it's just myself and JR. Like I said previously, hopefully the Guru is able to join us. But we'll kick off the week with another exciting week of Jets Guru. And this is what, if you told me after 9 games, we'd be 6-3, with a shot to be number one in AFC with the game after the bye week, that's like how you draw it up, right? That's like the dream scenario is to say, give me 2 weeks to prepare for a game to be number one in the division, right? Number 2 in the conference if Kansas City wins. And, I mean, I think that's all you could hope for as Jets fans. Coming off, like, you're not going to have your quarterback the first 3 weeks of the season, right? We've had some other injuries. And the Jets, you know, we've lost a couple offensive tackles, right? Fant, Becton, Mitchell. And the backups have, you know, held their water, been able to perform well enough to keep the run game going. And you got a GM that's all in. Right? All in, pulling the move for Robinson, continuing to evaluate, bringing in more talent this week to potentially add to the roster. So the Jets are all in. And it's really exciting heading into this Pats game. I posted a stat earlier today. So far in 19 games played, Zach Wilson has thrown 16 interceptions, 7 of them against the Patriots. Literally 44%. Of all of his interceptions are in those 3 games against the Patriots in his career. He only has 9 interceptions in his other 16 games played. But he has 7 in the 3 against the Patriots. I got his number. And right now, Bill Belichick is doing what Bill Belichick does, which is get you out of your game plan. And that's one of the things I would give Rex Ryan credit for, is that no matter who he played, he was the same guy, the same defense, the same ground and pound, the same Sanchez off a lot of play action, using his athletic ability and the bootlegs and stuff like that. But we were a run game and a defense. And when you look back at Salah in that last game of the Patriots, we threw the ball 41 times. That is not how we've won a single game this season. It's been by running, defense, and our offense being optimistic based on where the defense has set us up on the field. And they've been that opportunistic score, short fields, score off turnovers. Don't beat the New York Jets. Don't lose the game. And in that game, Bill Belichick said you're going to throw the ball 41 times. You're going to run it 16 times and see if you can win that way. So it'll be interesting. I mean, what are your thoughts, JR, as we head into this Patriot game about like what the Jets got to do?
Yeah, I'll take it from when you first started it. I'm just happy to be 6-3 right now. Who would have thought that, for real? So I'm ecstatic. I'm real excited for the Patriots game. I believe we got to run the ball too. Hold Zach to around like 20, 25 passes, and as long as he plays mistake-free football, I feel like we're going to be okay.
The thing about this Jets team, and this is why Jets fans are excited, right? Like, JR, when you look at this team, what are you excited about, man?
All the young talent.
Yeah, but our defense is like an offense, right?
It is.
Yeah, if you have Mac Jones and you tell me he's got to throw all day against Reed and Sauce, and that's what they got to do to beat us, our defense is like watching offense. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. And one of the things that's so cool about our defense, legit, when people are like, I don't want the defense on the field all day. The Jets rotate. The first defense is Lawson and Franklin Myers. Then they rotate off the field, and you get to watch Jermaine Johnson and Huff. And then they rotate off the field, and Clemens and Vinny Curry come on the field. Like, literally, every single time the defense rotates, it's just another fresh pair of studs, right?
Right.
Quinnen Williams, right? And he's got Quinnen Williams and Rankins until recently. Rankins just got hurt. And then Nate Shepard and Solomon Thomas come on the field. And those four defensive tackles are rotating. The Jets defense, legit, is like, it's like we have two offenses right now. Legit. How many? We got interceptions, like 2 interceptions every single week. These defensive ends are getting 3 to 5 sacks every game. You're getting 3 to 5 sacks every game. When you throw in Quinnen is at 7 sacks and 9, Quinnen's getting you 1 sack every single game. So to me, like the Jets right now got to do like Rex Ryan did. Don't play into the Bill Belichick game plan, which is taking away what you do well. Because when you stop doing what you do well, that's when you play right into what the Patriots want you to do. They want you to get away from a strong run game and make you a 16 runs in a game at home. The Jets should not let that happen. You have Robinson and Carter. Robinson 2 weeks off a bye week to get his knee closer to 100%. Dude, if Carter and Robinson is what you do well, just like when Rex Ryan was like, I run Thomas Jones, that's what I do. I'm running Thomas Jones. And you know it. And Bill Belichick, you want to take it away. But I'm still running Thomas Jones at you. And LaFleur's got to do, if we are Robinson and Carter and throw it 18 to 25 times a game, just because Bill Belichick doesn't want you to run Robinson and Carter, I don't give a damn. You run Robinson and Carter, and you know Zach Wilson is better with play action pass and the threat of running because that's what you do. And the Jets got to say, this is what we are on offense. This is what we are on defense. Good luck, Mac Jones, against our D. Good luck. And we're going to run and we're going to play action you because we're the New York Jets. And that's what they got to do. They can't do this 41 run plays and 15. If we do 41 pass and 15 run plays, the Jets are not winning this week. You got to do who you are. And that's what the Jets got to do this week.
Absolutely.
We got Mr. Smith on the line.
Absolutely, brother. I mean, that's how they got to run it, man. They got to learn from their mistakes in the last game, which they should have won.
Oh, your mic cut out. Can you hear him? Is it coming through? Is it muted? Can you hear him?
Nah, I don't hear him.
Message him. Give me a second. We gotta let him know. Let me see if this mic is muted. Nah, I mean we're talking about this Patriots game. I honestly would not change a single thing we did on defense last game. The Jets are gonna make Mac Jones beat them. We should be able with Quan Alexander, with Quincy, with Mosley, take care of the run game. I know that we play zone, guys. So if they run the ball, they're gonna find some holes here and there. But I mean, our linebackers, our safeties, our cornerbacks across the board, where's your concern with the Jets defense? For everyone who's watching today, when you look at that D line, when you look at Quinnen, when you look at that D line, you have no concerns. Like it's a buzzsaw to try to move the ball against our defense. Like at all levels, you feel confident in the Quinnen and the rotation that you have at DT. And we'll probably see Marshall or Smart come up this week and add to that rotation. You got to feel good about what you're doing there. And the offense, I think we got to see some things. Can we work more into the offense? Can we get the tight ends involved? Because this week, Bill Belichick is going to take Garrett Wilson, who carved him up last time we played them, and you're going to see him put more focus there. So how can LaFleur be smart, get other people involved other than Wilson? I think we got Daniel back. I heard a click there.
See how much time I get on the mic. Put Kevin up with me though, so he can kind of tap his ear if he hears me go out. But yeah, man. I mean, listen, like Zach's got to learn from the mistakes that he made. But like even though he made those mistakes, he still played well at points throughout that game. And way better than I've seen a lot of Jet quarterbacks, play against Bill Belichick. And he's going to learn from his mistakes. And I have that confidence knowing so, because every time Zach has had one of these moments where he struggled with football, it always seems like he comes back and plays a lot better. He's really big time in the film room. That's what he's known for. And it seems like he takes those things to heart. When he came back from his knee injury last year, the turnovers pretty much disappeared. And for the most part, they've disappeared the rest of his career since coming back. He began checking the ball down more, getting the ball out of his hand quickly, and learning some of the stuff that he wasn't accustomed to in college. So he doesn't have an ego on the field. You could tell this guy gets coached very well. He could take coaching and instruction. And he knows that the Jets won that game and they're more than capable. And the Jets are chomping at their bit here to go up there and bust those guys up, especially coming off a huge win against the Bills. I mean, dude, you literally shut down Josh Allen and just basically just punked the Bills. You got to go up here and you got to beat these Patriots. They struggled against the Jets last time. It's not like Mac Jones came in there and beat the Jets. It was mistakes that beat the Jets, and you played a veteran coaching staff that knows how to work around it. I watched Bill Belichick win a game against the Bills where they passed the ball 2 times all game. What was that, last year? And the Bills went on a deep playoff run. I mean, it's just how it's going to be. They're going to be well coached. You still got Judon out there, who I think has 11 sacks. So it's not going to be easy. And just to let you guys know, I think the 2 best defenses over the last few weeks, Jets, Patriots. So in many categories. So it's not going to be a high scoring game. You have to run the ball exactly like Kevin said. No questions asked. In the games that the Jets have lost, they simply just didn't run the ball enough. And what's interesting is some of those games that we lost, the Jets were in winnable games going into the second half. And somehow the run just disappeared. Now, I think when you have a shiny toy like Zach Wilson, and I think when LaFleur comes from a place where they like to do a little trickery, they like to kind of open things up at times. They kind of like to swing quarterbacks around. It's kind of a fun offense to play in. I think you could kind of lose yourself. I think you can lose yourself if you're a first-time play caller in your second season and you're still trying to get an identity. Well, I think he's starting to learn that the identity starts with the run, just like Kevin said. You got James Robinson for a reason. He's got extra rest on the knee. They both look good playing well together. I think the last time I saw them, I think they complemented themselves well. They basically controlled that last drive and just ran it down their throats. And that's kind of what I want to see. That's what I want to see all game. Like Kevin said, when it doesn't work, I don't care. Still run anyways. Because you know why? I don't want my young quarterback exposed. I don't want my young quarterback feeling like he's playing in the Mountain West again and has to do too much. This is the type of things that I don't want to see from Zach Wilson. It will come. Trust me. There will be many games where you see that throw down the field to Garrett Wilson. You're going to see those for the rest of his career if the Jets could do the right thing, like the Bills did the right thing with Josh Allen. And if you listen to how Zach Wilson talks about Josh Allen, you could tell that he's modeling his career after this guy. He speaks about him a lot. And he was talking about, it took time and they handled him the right way. That's what he wants. He knows, they know, and we know. Don't rush this thing, guys. We've been waiting for so long for a good quarterback with his skill set. We've been waiting a long time to have a winning organization. We've been waiting a long time to have a coaching staff and a GM in lockstep together. We've been waiting for a long time to have the owner not button in football decisions, and we got all of that. All we have to do is let it take its time. The Jets are ahead of schedule. The Jets should not be winning like this year. This was reserved for next year. If we could continue to do what we're doing, we have a chance to have a team that's perennially in the playoffs, and that's what you want. The Super Bowl is great. Going from Joe Burrows on an awful Bengals team to the Super Bowl is amazing. But you know what's even better? The Baltimore Ravens. You know what's even better? Teams like the Steelers, where 20 years from now, we could say this was the starting point that kept the Jets going. And when the Jets don't make the playoffs, you're like, damn, this is like weird that we're not at least in the discussion or the shot for something. And that's what I want from the Jets. I don't want the Jets to be good for 4 years and then disappear for another 10. I want them to be a team that wins year in and year out. And Joe Douglas implants that culture into the organization where he learned from the Baltimore Ravens and the Eagles to where, man, every 2-3 years, as soon as they're, they can't get some contracts, it's football. You got to let people go. A quarterback retires and then give it 2-3 years and boom, they're right back because of the principles that were laid before the guys that were there beforehand. I want to have a coach once in my life that you're like, man, how long has Robert Saleh been there for? Oh, like 12, 15 years or so. That's what I want. I want a point in Jets history where it's like they've only had 3 coaches in the last 50 years. That's what I want for the New York Jets, and I understand it's New York and I understand we want a winner, all this stuff. I get it. I know the media is tough, but really screw them, man. Really, seriously, screw them for rushing this team. Screw them for putting unrealistic expectations on this Jets team when they keep winning time and time again. I still hear people whining about Zach Wilson. I still hear people trying to nitpick at this team that's 6-3 in the second year in their rebuild, coming off a 2-win season with Mr. Adam Gase looking around with his eyes dancing in heaven. Like, seriously, we got to get a grip as fans and understand this is a wonderful run, an unexpected run. And I'm just so excited each and every week to get ready to watch this team because I know that the defense is going to come out, that we've got so much young talent that is oozing off the paper, and we still have another draft coming up next year. I'm worried about what Joe Douglas is going to do with the new draft class next year because where are they going to play? Because we're starting to fill up spots now, and now we're starting to fill up depth now, and it's like, who are we going to trade for more picks, or who are we going to have to let go? Where you're like, I can't believe we let him go. And watch, fans are going to be like, oh, I can't believe we let this player go. It's unbelievable. And then all of a sudden, another guy steps up, and you're like, oh, wait, I'm not used to seeing this from the Jets, where a depth player comes out once a star walks away, and all of a sudden the defense doesn't take a step back. But that's what you're seeing right now. You're seeing a 9-10 man rotation on the defensive line, and they're not missing a beat. Not missing a beat. And this is the type of football that they're bringing to the New York Jets. We're just not used to seeing football like this. We're not used to seeing a team that's built with depth and we're not used to seeing organizational structure that looks sound. And that's what we're starting to see. So please enjoy every single bit of this, every single bit of it, because it could be taken away and we could be a one win team again. And is that any fun? No. So live your life before you die too soon and enjoy it. You got a green and white that's out there that's playing awesome football, Kevin.
You're on mute.
That's how I sound best. I sound best when I'm on mute, man. Didn't you know? Is jumping on that same point you were making about the depth of the team. I mean, I remember when we had cut downs at the end of camp, right? We had 5 players claimed by other teams. And we've had some cuts since then, right? So the Giants are 7-2, and this is one of my favorite things to point out, right? The Giants are 7-2. Dude, we cut Pinnock for Joyner. Joyner has 3 interceptions. It was the right choice. Like, yes, he started slow, but now, I mean, he's solid. He's solid. He's got 3 picks, right? And I'm not bitching about a 30-year-old free safety.
Nah, he's playing good.
He's playing solid.
Mm-hmm.
Pinnock is the number 3. He's the dime back for the Giants right now. He's the number 3 safety and the dime back. Has a sack and a half. He plays. And the other guy we just cut, Cager, for Rucker, dude, he's now the starting tight end for the Giants. The Jets cut players who would start on playoff rosters. Like, I'm not like the Jets when players grab people off our rosters, they can play. They're not signing to like stash them and develop them.
Right.
They're like right now players that the Jets cut. And you're 100% right. Like, think of, we've lost how many right tackles? How many right tackles have we lost, right? We lost Fant, Becton, right? AVT, Mitchell. We're on our 5th string. And because of that, we put in Herbig at guard, 24 years old, claimed off the Eagles, that Joe Douglas had already got the scouting report on, that this guy is one of the top 10 offensive guards in the whole NFL at 24. We're going to have to re-sign him. And we only got to him even playing because we had to move AVT out to right tackle, or he would have never played. And he's already one of the top 10 guards in the NFL. Like, when you talk about how much depth and talent, like Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, we can't even get Berrios on the field. We can't get Berrios on the field because our wide receivers are stacked with Corey Davis hurt. So 100% agree. Like, how this roster is constructed, we will lose some players. Some players will restructure. Like, Corey Davis will love playing in this system. At the end of the year, normally the Jets would cut a guy like Corey Davis. He's going to be a restructure candidate. I think it's going to be exciting to see how some of that stuff plays out. But I agree with you. The depth is what gives us an opportunity to lose your best offensive player and go into a schedule like we have right here. Look at this artwork and everything that JR put together right here. He did this all himself. Ooh. Anyways, very excited to talk about the upcoming schedule. These next 4 games are huge. Huge. Before we even get to the second half of the season, Patriots, Bears at home against Fields on a hot streak against this defense. Just got to take care of business and get those 2. They got to get those 2. That way, if you even split in Minnesota and the Bills, it's a home run, right? If you can get this Patriots-Bears game, you only need to win 1 out of the last 2 to be a win. If you get 3-1 in the next 4 games as the Jets, who's 6-3 already, dude, you jumped through your television. If you are 9-4 going into your last 4 games, high five, right? Monster. So to me, that's what the Jets got to do. They got to go get this win in New England. Got to come home and beat Justin Fields. And Jets fans, Mosley, Alexander, Quincy, Williams, Lawson, Jermaine Johnson, Quinnen Williams, and Whitehead at safety against Justin Fields running around. Sign me up. Sign me up. You got to go get these 2 wins. Your defense should win these next 2 games. Split the last 2 to me, get to 3-1. And when we talk about playoffs in the next segment, that's how you get there. That's how you get there. These next 4 games. What are your thoughts on these upcoming 4 big matchups?
Well, you got to get New England. That is well, there goes my lights. Hold on, turn my car on. So you got to get New England for sure, 100%. That's just, you have to, because they're nipping at the back of you there too. They're not exactly slouches here, guys. If I'm not mistaken, New England is 5-4, right?
Yep.
So, they win this game and they're tied with you now, and they're only 1 game away for being up there with the Bills and Miami and everything. And so you want to put them in their place, and you should, because the talent level is way better. Let me know, JR, if I'm frozen or if Kevin is frozen.
Nah, you're good.
Oh,
no. Okay, good. So yeah, you got to get that, because you want to put them in their proper place. You're a better team, and you can't give up wins and losses like that. So you got to get that win to get to 7-3. You then take over first place, I believe, for just a tiny bit of time there.
But it's a statement game, right? Like, if you're saying we are here, the New York Jets in the AFC East, this is a we are here game to me.
Oh, well, I mean, for me, that was the Buffalo game. That was letting people know, like, listen, we're a good team, and even when things don't go 100%, we still can come out here and beat you guys. Like, we don't need to have like this elaborate offense to beat you, because our defense is that good, and we believe that we have talent enough where we could get first down to extend drives. We're gonna get a touchdown or 2 given, and then we have one of the best kickers that the Jets have seen in many years, where you could feel like you could take 2 or 3 field goals from a team.
Yep.
And takes, man, a lot of these NFL games are decided by a touchdown. You got Zerline coming out here. If he gets you 2-3 field goals, now you're scratching your head as a team. You're like, oh man, they just got extra points like that. Like, it's a serious thing, man. Then you throw in special teams, you get a couple good returns, get some good field position. Zach Wilson only has to make 2 throws on a drive and have some healthy running, and all of a sudden you're up 3-0. Then you come down, and then maybe you score a touchdown that drive, then it's 10-0. Now you're starting to put pressure.
And our defense scores too, man. Our defense scores too.
And then if the Jets happen to get any type of a lead, it's really a struggle for other teams. And I think other teams are going to start to learn that you're going to have to try to start to stack points on the Jets early, because the defense will self-correct itself if they're just kind of giving up some silly stuff, because they're that good. And the Jets offense isn't that bad where they could get things moving along enough to, remove a 10-point deficit. And so their teams are going to have to jump on the Jets quick if they want to kind of get them out of the way. If not, the Jets are going to make it really difficult for teams to win. One of the games that's very interesting to me is that Minnesota game, watching how they played against Buffalo, because it kind of got murky there for a second with the Vikings, and they had to have a bunch of things fall their way. And I'm not taking it away from them, because the Jets had to have the same thing for a lot of their wins. And guess what? Winning teams find a way to win ball games, and it just happens that way. There's a lot of big time throws and catches by Jefferson and Cousins down the stretch of that game, that if you don't make those catches and throws, you just don't win that game, even with the fumble in the end zone by Josh Allen or the lineman or whatever. There's like a million bodies there. But that's an interesting game. Here's the thing for me, Kevin, that if the Jets beat Minnesota and Buffalo on the road, now we're not just talking about a playoff team. Now we're starting to talk about, can this team go on a deep run? Because those games right there are going to let me know how good the Jets really are. Because you should beat the Patriots. You should beat the Bears, which will get you to 8-3. Now, dude, guys, at 8-3, you're not some slouch. At 8-3, you're most likely first place in your division, or you're at least one of the top 4 teams in the AFC. That's serious positioning. So the way I'm looking at it is like this. They somehow beat Minnesota, and then they get to 9-3, beat Buffalo, and they're 10-3. And then they have to play the Lions, Jaguars. You're talking about 11-3, maybe even 12-3. Now you're starting to talk about, could we get a damn bye possibly? This is the type of stuff I'm talking about. So this is going to be so much fun. The one thing that we can't have, and I'm not even going to bring up the specific year, and I'm not even going to give up any real details to it, but because I don't want to jinx it, but what we can't have is the Jets doing dumb things like losing to the Patriots and to the Bears, and then having to go play Minnesota at home, on the road, and Buffalo on the road, to where like, then it's like, all right, we had a good season, but we just went on a 4-game losing streak. And now it's more or less about, let's get the young guys some more work. This has been an outstanding season. Or maybe, depending on how the AFC is, you can maybe try to go on a run. But at that point, Seattle should be locked in. Miami should be locked in and knowing who they are. So it's not going to be as easy. So the Jets need to beat New England. They need to beat the Bears. Realistically, I think that they could be 8-3. I technically right now have the Jets losing to Minnesota and Buffalo. Just right now, not by a large amount. It could be a close game, but just, watching that Vikings game, they're a good team, man. They're good. I can't take anything away from them. And we know Buffalo is a good team. Everyone's saying, oh, they're not as good as we think they are. Well, they played the Jets, and who knows, by the end of this year, the Jets could be one of the best teams in the AFC. And we already know Minnesota right now is one of the best teams in the NFC. So maybe Buffalo just got punched in the mouth by 2 of the best teams in the NFL. It doesn't make Buffalo weak. It just means that they played hard teams and they lost, and they were close games. They came down to the wire. Buffalo almost won. Buffalo almost won again. So it's not like they got blown out. So it's going to tell us a lot over the next 4 games who the Jets are and where they stand in the AFC. The Lions game cannot be a trap game for us either. This is a home game. We should punch them right in the mouth. And the same thing with the Jaguars. They're just not good enough. As far as I'm concerned, even if the Jets were to lose to New England and the Bears, to me, they're still not good enough to beat the Jets at home. So the Jets should get wins there. The Seattle and Miami game, I'm with Kevin right there. I need to see a split. That's what needs to happen. Those are tough games, man. You're literally going from playing at home on the East Coast, flying to the West Coast, then flying back to the East Coast, not to go home, but to go on the road. But a benefit here to the Jets, you don't have to deal with the Miami summer, baby. By that time, it's nice weather in Miami. Could be maybe a little bit rainy or something like that, but it's not going to be hot. I think Miami loses their home field advantage. Miami, to me, like, I've been to so many Miami games. It's kind of weak, bro. I'm just saying, like, as a player, it's like, it's not like I go in there and go, wow, Seattle's different. Seattle can get loud. The weather could be nasty. They're kind of a grinder team as it is. To me, Miami's a little bit more high-powered, like fancy. They got the smaller receivers. I think the Jets are made for that game. It's just kind of like we got the corners. We got the physicalness. We don't even know if Tua is going to be healthy by the time that comes along. To me, Seattle's the tougher game. And I know people think that's crazy with the way Tyreek Hill's playing and Waddle and all that other stuff. I know Miami's a good team right now, but we already beat them. And yes, they didn't have Tua, but they still had Hill, and they still had Waddle, and they still had their run game, and they still had their defense. So, it's not like we played a decimated Miami team or anything like that. I think we saw what they had to offer, and I think we match up well against them. I think we match up well with anybody's on the schedule. So realistically, if I'm going to put a number on it, I'm going to say 8-3. Then I'm going to say 8-5. By the time they clear there, they'll beat the Lions. They'll go to 9-5. The Jaguars 10-5. And then they split with Miami or Seattle, and they got 11 games. And this gets the Jets in the playoffs. And it's going to be a fun time to be a Jet fan. That's how I look at it, Kevin.
Yeah, I think when I look at the schedule, I would look for the Jets to go 3-1 in the first half and the second half. Just like I was saying, find a way to get this New England and Chicago game. Find a way to split that Buffalo Minnesota game. Man, this is a war of attrition. Like one of the cool things about this season, and I honestly look forward to it, is the guys that were injured in the first half are coming back in the second half, like the Mitchells and Fants. We haven't watched play in how long, man?
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, who's going to fall between now and then? Because players are going to get hurt. I don't trust like anything, right? There's a reason we're on our fifth string offensive tackle right now on the right side. And Dwayne Brown has been in and out and in and out. I mean, but I'm excited to get some players back. You know, I'm excited about this rotation. I think we can compete with anyone, just like you said. I think winning in Buffalo, we're seeing what a couple of injuries here and there does to a team.
Yeah,
right? Buffalo is falling apart.
mm-hmm.
Literally, like the arrow's going down. If there were a stock arrow beside their name, like I think some teams are going to take advantage. They can get a pass rush on Josh Allen, and he trusts his arm so much he just throws it out there, and either his guy or your guy's going to make a play. But 2 or 3 times a game, your guy's going to make the play when Josh Allen throws it, and that's what we're seeing, right? He's like leader in the league in most consecutive games with a more than 1 turnover right now. So, but I also agree with you on what you were saying on Miami. Man, I don't trust Hill, Waddle, and Tua to be there week 17. They're going to be missing 1 or 2 of those. None of those guys are like big diesel built. These are like 3, like they say, cheetahs. Like, dude, somebody's not going to make it, right? Somebody's not going to make week 17. And I trust our depth. And I agree with you. I think we will lean on teams as teams wear down in the second half. I think you just saw that against Buffalo. Like in the fourth quarter, they pinned us back to the 5, and the offensive line almost just leaned on them down the field, run after run after run after run. And Buffalo's defense couldn't take like that consistent pounding. And I think that will be the Jets. Like, while you see Buffalo's not the only team breaking down the second half of the season that's getting exposed for not having depth. And the Jets got to take advantage of their depth and keep coming in waves and waves and waves. And I think that's when you look at the schedule. I don't know. I think they'll finish maybe 2nd or 3rd in the AFC. Like, I think they can go that 12, just like I said, 12 wins. Compete for a home Jets playoff game. A home Jets. JR, are you going to a home Jets playoff game?
If we make it, yes, I will go.
Yes. That's the only answer. Yes. Man.
Yep.
Are you going? That's the question. Are y'all
man.
going?
I don't care. I'll take the 11-hour drive, the 5.5 there.
Dude, how many chances do we have to watch a home Jets playoff game?
Yep. What about the Super Bowl?
Oh, I go to the Super Bowl.
I'm going, dude. I'm calling it right now. If the Jets go to the Super Bowl, I will be there. I will be there. I don't care what I have to sell or what I have to do. I will be there.
This year.
I got a friend out in Arizona. I'll be like, dude, let me crash with you. I'm gonna hit these plane tickets and I'm gonna spend whatever it winds up being. What is it, 4 or 5 grand, 6, 7 grand, whatever it's gonna be to get in.
I'll have Jets tickets. If they go to the Super Bowl, I will be there.
It's gotta happen because that's a core memory, and I'm not letting that go for anything. And listen, again, we're having fun with this, guys. We've seen things happen. The NFL could be tricky. You could lose your quarterback. You could lose your receivers in one game. Look, we lost Breece Hall and Vera Tucker in the same game. So we know just as well how hard it can be on a football team throughout the course of the year. But the one thing that I think that Jet fans need to have in mind is that this season has already been won, period. The season has already been won. The Jets have outperformed their expectations by a wide margin. The rookies that you've drafted this year have exceeded your expectations, and they have grown more in this half a year than you could have ever imagined.
Daniel, generation, the word, feel comfortable using this word. You, Jets fans, everyone, do we have some generational talents?
Oh,
Brees
yeah.
Hall, Sauce Gardner, and Garrett Wilson are the Thomas Jones, Reeveses, Fergusons, Mangolds. We have some of those guys on our roster.
And you haven't even got into potentially your quarterback being a 10-year plus quarterback, then all the
Barrett Tucker,
the offensive line that's been put together with all young pieces. And it's not over. It's not like Joe Douglas and the Jets are getting ready to retire and this is the last season they're going to play football. Like, there's still more depth and growth and organizational structure and coaching that's going to be coming through here, and even as guys leave. So it's one of those things where the season is won. Okay, the season is won. Now there's individual players you want to see that, again, Zach Wilson and some other guys. I want to see Brees Hall come back from his injury, these types of things. But the Jets have far exceeded their expectations this year. So enjoy every single moment of this, okay? Even if they don't make the playoffs, even if it doesn't go the way you think it does. But you know what, man? And I'm not trying to like throw anything on it or even call it, but it just feels different. Like when I watch them on Sundays, it just feels like they know what the hell they're doing for once. Like the players that they've assembled, even far, it outperforms the coaching, because the coaches are still learning. They're still learning how, and it's great because the coaches are allowing the players are allowing the coaches to put their program together to build for the future. Like Saleh is learning how to become a head coach on so many different levels. And because his talent level is so good, he can make mistakes, but it's still working because of what was put together. The same thing with LaFleur. LaFleur could get killed this year if the Jets weren't 6-3 and they had maybe 1 or 2 wins for some of the ways he gave up the run or some of the play calling and the exposure that Zach Wilson had to go through because of the lack of the run. The handling of Elijah Moore, like all this stuff gets swept under the rug sort of, and the blame doesn't go on them because the players and the talent, because of what Sauce has done, because of the depth on the offensive line, because of the receiver group, because the safeties have tied it together finally, because of DJ Reed, because Mosley's a tackling machine, because Q Williams is all over the place, because Quinnen is the best or the second best defensive tackle that you could find right now. All these things are coming together, and they're allowing the coaches to play catch up. And when it all works together, you have these guys are all learning and growing and helping each other and taking pressure off the organization and each other simply by coming out and being themselves. And it starts with Joe Douglas at the top. And I just have so much confidence that even if the Jets don't make the playoffs this year, he's going to figure out a way to get it done for next year in the third year where the expectations are higher, that he's going to draft the proper players again, that he's going to convince the top free agent that the Jets are on the rise like he's been doing, and bringing guys in and just making trades that blow your mind. And you don't understand why they keep making trades with him, but for some reason they keep doing it. I feel like he's just going to continue doing these things because there's nothing saying recently that he's not. So will the Jets make the playoffs this year? As we sit here right now, I say yes. I say between the 9 and 11 win range, but I say that we find a way to get in and that we're a playoff team somewhere in there. That's just what I'm calling it. I'm calling it right now. Could it change in a month? Sure. But right now, the Jets are one of the best teams in the AFC, and you're not going to change my mind whatsoever. JR, what do you got, man? Playoffs or no playoffs today?
I got us at 10-7, so I don't know if does that get us into the playoffs?
I think it does for sure.
Yes, well then I got us in a wild card.
All right, there it is.
That would have us on the road. And man, I mean, I think tremendous point on how the roster is constructed and all that pieces like playing together. Totally agree. Like we got to be playoffs. I definitely think the Jets are ahead of schedule. And I think, it's going to be interesting to see how the coaches continue to evolve, how they use Zach Wilson and how we put the pieces together. I think we haven't even unlocked the cheat codes and all of that yet. We've only had Robinson 2 weeks, right? I think the Jets got to get Elijah Moore unlocked. I think we can do more with Conklin. I think the Jets have so much potential in so many areas of focus. Like, totally agree. Like, the Jets can be so good, even so much better than we've seen so far. So it's going to be fun to see how this plays out.
100%. So, guys, what I want you to do now is I want you to put your predictions down in the bottom so I can check them out. I'm sorry that I missed the show last week. My voice is even still messed up right now. It just won't leave. It's just, oh, man, I've just been sick the last 2 weeks. It's just been awful, and I haven't really been able to heal properly because I've been running around like crazy trying to get in my new home and dealing with all that and then working and doing all that stuff. So I'm trying my best. I know JR and Kevin are busy and they're trying to get a bunch of stuff done for work and their families and stuff too. But we're out here. We're trying to grind. We're trying to push through and give you guys what I think is some of the best fan coverage of an NFL team that you'll find on Facebook. So I always appreciate the support. I keep seeing the stars popping up and stuff when I do these videos. Yeah, we really just thank you, man. I can't ask you enough spending your hard-earned money on us and, just throwing them out there like that. That's awesome. And listen, we got a game this Sunday. We'll have a game thread up. As always, I'll do my video afterwards, and hopefully it's a victory, man, because I think if the Jets get this game, you can almost lock in the playoffs unless some kind of disaster happens, which is always possible in the NFL world, but it won't be because of lack of preparation or bad coaching or because the wheels fell off of a player. It would be like injury, that type of stuff, because 7-3 is a wonderful start. I think there's some AFC teams that you thought were going to be big time that just didn't show up. I don't think the AFC is as tough as we really thought it was, guys. We know the NFC isn't. There's just a kind of like a kind of lull over football right now because a lot of the quarterbacks that we thought were going to be big time have kind of taken a step back. And then you have like some younger guys that you thought were going to come up and they've kind of just been muddling around. So the NFL is kind of up for grabs a little bit. I mean, except for maybe like one team or so. So, it's a good shot for this Jets organization to start putting their foot and start kind of like setting their terms on what their organization is going to be. So appreciate all the support. You guys are amazing. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, JR, for everything you guys do. You guys are amazing people. Have a great week. Be good to each other. And I love you guys. Thanks for the support. Jets Guru, out.